So a lot of people focus on pushing forward with their hip as they punch and then pulling back with their hip as they pull. But just think about using your hip independent than your hands, because sometimes you need to change directions real quickly, right? So let's say I throw a punch and I gotta pull it back and throw another punch, right? So instead of pulling my hand back and throwing the elbow here, I could just use my hip to just pull that part back. So the first drill I do is holding a wooden dowel like this. You get a broomstick or whatever, and all you're gonna do is move it back and forth here. But instead of using your shoulder to move it back and forth, you're gonna make this steady and use your hips. Instead of doing that, you wanna do that. And try to do it for a duration. Let's say 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 10. Try to go for a count or put a timer on 30 seconds. Here's a front view. So another thing, I was lucky enough to find this out on the side of the road, long wooden stick, or this is a piece of bamboo. And what you do is hold both hands here, about shoulder width apart, and you're gonna try to move this side, this part of the pole. So again, I'm using my hips to wiggle it back and forth. That's kind of gives you some type of tension, as if someone's grabbing onto you and you gotta use your hip to move them. So you can do it on one side and then do it on the other, right? Here. Now holding yourself up against the wall like a pseudo push-up position, you can do the same thing with your hips. So you can practice moving your hip back or moving it forward here. The reason why you want to hold on to something, it's as if you're pushing against somebody, right? So let's say somebody's here, you got to pull them. Well, you can use your hip back and pull, or you got to push them, so you're going to use your hip and go forward. You put one foot back, one foot forward. Both feet the same, shoulder width apart, doesn't really matter. Or do both. So of course, resistance bands or tire tubes have been used a lot in karate training. One thing you can do is take an elastic band and attach it to your far hip and move it forward this way, so you're getting that repetition. Or you could attach it behind you and move it back. You could do it to the side as well if you wanted. And if you want to increase the tension on this, go slow. I always say if you do something slow with a lot of resistance, you're gonna be able to do it quickly with little resistance, right? So you're gonna get to that eventually, but you want to go do this real slow and then increase the weight on this, because you're gonna get the correct alignment and the correct body mechanics before you can do anything fast. So how you can apply the fast twitch or the fast torque action is maybe someone's really strong, a lot stronger than you, and they're bearing down on your frame, your structure. Therefore, it's kind of like you need to reset your position so that you could go back onto the advantage. For example, let's say I'm in an advantageous position here, but let's say he was in the advantageous position and I can't get out of this because he's so strong. And there's no way I'm gonna try to pry his arm out or push and pull. Well, what you can do is do the drills that we just did and help develop that fast switch. So he's holding on tight, and I gotta figure out a way to wiggle myself out of there. So it's these type of movements where you're just fast motions with your hip and also sinking with your knees. Let's say he has outward in and pushing in like that. And I can't open him up like this. Well, you can open him up opposite directions with the fast twitch, right? That's gonna allow you to slip your hand through and do whatever else you wanna do. So now if you wanna do it aggressively or in the attack position, let's say I'm trying to get this underhook here and he closes his elbow in and I can't squeeze my arm through here. Well, you can have a fast twitch motion so that you can kind of do that. Say on this side too, he closes this in and I can't squeeze my arm through. So that's gonna allow me to do that, right? So this motion here. Same thing here. His weakest link is where his hands are, but his arms are a lot stronger than me. So it makes sense to use that fast twitch to break open the grip. That way you can go out or maneuver behind him. Another example, let's say you're in the clinch and you're trying to get some space so that you could do a technique. Let's say I want to go underneath and do a throw here, a shoulder throw, right? Well, I can bump with my shoulder using a fast twitch so that I can go, right? It's the same motion as all the other drills that we just did. So another example, I'm trying to get through here, it doesn't really work. Well, fast twitch teaches you to go one and then the other. So it's gonna be hard for me to bear down like that, but if I go through, hold on. If I go through like that, it's gonna allow me to close the distance and then lift him up if I need to. So if you have the arm and you treat it like a rope, you could slingshot his arm, right? And his body's gonna follow because he's attached to you. So let's say, for example, you want to take him down this way, but he resists, so he pulls back up. Well, you can follow that with a fast twitch and then come right back down. So it's kind of like a down, up, down motion, right? Here. And it's gonna take it down pretty easily. The more obvious examples would be to use it as striking, right? So it allows you to flow from one thing to another. Let's say you have multiple opponents, one guy's here, one guy's here. You kind of use the momentum to go from one to the other and back. Or if he has his hands up, I can still use my fast twitch to kind of pick apart various parts on his body to attack.